What do you think of McAfee privacy? Make up your mind as we step through their privacy policy. And leave us comments to tell us what you think. Aspects of their policy that I've found particularly interesting, I've highlighted in red.
Hi, Neil here from Neil Brown Reviews.
McAfee Safe Connect. Have a look at the privacy notice. Here we have the privacy notice. It says it gives information about the data we collect, use and share, and our commitment to using the personal data we collect in a respectful fashion, which is a good start. Firstly, it defines who McAfee is, the McAfee LCC and affiliates. It specifies it applies to personal information obtained from individuals through websites, products, services and web-based applications. And some of the mobile applications subject to a separate privacy notice. So they say, why do we collect information? Supposedly it includes improvement of products, part of their download process, to personalize and manage a relationship with you, respond to events or inquiries, work with and respond to law enforcement and regulators, and research matters relating to our business such as security threats and vulnerabilities. So basically they use it for a lot of purposes, and in particular they do say law enforcement and regulators, which mean they may be required to release your information with appropriate due process. So what kind of information do they collect? Obviously contact information. They also collect payment information, particulars about the purchases you've made with them, your login credentials, your locations, your interests, demographic information, photo, images, video and related hash values or biometric data such as fingerprints or voice recordings. And they may also collect other information related to user interactions with our service, example usage data. For example, clickstream data and aggregate usage statistics is generally not personally identified. On the other hand, some of this user data, either alone or when combined with linked with personal information, may allow your identity to be discovered. In such cases, we treat combined data as personal information. In many cases, usage data is gathered automatically by systems or technology such as cookies. They give some examples, so it could be details about your computer, devices, applications, and networks, including device IDs, operating systems, language preferences, activities and usage patterns of websites and services, details of internet app or network usage, including URLs or domain names of websites you visit, and information about things that attempt to access your network. Data about files and communications, such as potential malware or spam, which may include computer files, emails and attachments, email addresses, metadata, traffic data, or portions or hashes. A hash file is a file that's been converted to numeric or string by a mathematical algorithm of any of this information. So how do we collect this information? They say there's information you give us, and information collected automatically, and this includes cookies, and also information from other sources. So if we receive information from other sources, we may add it to the information we already have about you. For example, if we receive a list of subscribers to a publication and we note you're a user of our product and also a subscriber, we may combine that information. So how do we use personal information? It says every time you turn on a device, connect to a network or open a file, you are exposed to a significant risk from hackers, malware, spyware and other forms of unauthorized access to your data and systems. So they use this personal information for security and threat detection. By collecting and processing data, including personal information, McAfee can help predict threats and protect you. There are business uses. In addition, we may use personal information for other business purposes, including analyzing your behavior, establishing and managing McAfee accounts, collect and process payments, providing customer support, communicating about special events, improving their websites, improving their services, prevent, detect, identify, investigate, respond and protect against potential or actual claims, liabilities, prohibited behavior and criminal activity, to comply with and enforce applicable legal requirements, agreements and policies, and perform other activities consistent with this notice. So then they talk about product updating and reporting, supporting free products and services. The other important thing is, when do we share personal information? So they start by saying we respect the importance of privacy. Other than as provided by this privacy notice, we do not sell your personal information, nor do we share it with unaffiliated third parties for their own marketing use, unless we have your consent or are required by law to do so. They may share information in the following ways: current and future members of the McAfee family of companies, the users integral to particular services, authorized service providers who perform services for us, for example, cloud services, data storage services, sales, marketing, investigations, payment processing, customer support, and bill collection. If we believe disclosure necessary to and appropriate to prevent physical, financial, or other harm, injury, loss, including to protect against fraud or credit risk. They also say to provide to legal, governmental, judicial authorities as instructed or required by those authorities, or applicable laws in relation to a legal activity, such as in response to a subpoena or investigated suspicious illicit activity, including identifying those who use our services for illegal activities. We reserve the right to report to law enforcement agencies the activity that we, in good faith, believe to be illegal. They can use your information in connection with or during negotiations of acquisition, merger, or asset sales or similar business transfer. For marketing and advertising content, they then talk about the Shine the Light law and talk about third-party advertising, which includes their cookie notice. They say, regarding do not track disclosures, our site does not respond to do not track signals. You may, however, disable certain tracking discussed above by disabling cookies. For information about do not track signals, please click here. So you can set do not track signals in your browser, but McAfee will ignore them unless you actually switch off cookies altogether, or to a significant extent. They talk about their security measures, which are pretty much what you'd expect. What choices do you have? And they go through different categories about receiving marketing material, McAfee settings, moving testimonials from a website, and if you no longer wish to receive marketing information when opting out. You can assess excess and correct inaccuracies. You may request access or changes to or removal of your personal information in accordance with applicable laws by contacting us as indicated below. They talk about retention times, which basically says it depends on the purposes. As long as you're subscribed or they have a business purpose and is no longer required or permitted by law. Information we collect may be stored and processed in servers in the United States and wherever McAfee and our service providers have facilities around the globe. They talk about children's privacy. Data transfers. They say McAfee is headquartered in the United States. As such, we and our service providers may transfer your personal information to or access in jurisdictions that may not provide equivalent levels of data protection as your home jurisdiction. We will take steps to ensure that your personal information receives an adequate level of protection in the jurisdiction in which we process it. If you're located in the European Economic Area or Switzerland, we provide adequate protection for the transfer of personal information to countries outside of the EEA or Switzerland through intercompany agreements. Talk about links to other websites, and they have a few contact places, including Attention Legal Department, Privacy Office, 5000 Headquarters Drive, Plano, Texas. And they also have addresses in the United Kingdom or in Tokyo. So this has given you an overview of the actual privacy policies of McAfee. Obviously, it's not exhaustive. If you have any other particular aspects, please raise them in the comments below, or any other comments relating to privacy generally, and particularly privacy as it relates to antivirus companies. So thank you for listening to this, and we hope you enjoyed it. If you'd like to get more information on a regular basis, click the subscribe button below and click the notification bell so you'll be notified when we release new information. Thank you again for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.